Welcome, Michael Forrest.
Sorry, everybody. That's never happened before. I put on my headset and I could not connect to my network at all. So I don't know what's going on there. I was able to switch bands and finally make it in. Thank you for that suggestion, Fury. It worked out. Didn't have the
Yeah,
introduction music. We got to get the
we
introduction
did
music.
not. No, that's true.
Yeah,
So,
we absolutely need that. So let's jump into that now. Again, sorry for the delay. We're gonna try to piecemeal this out and see how we do.
everyone's currently unmuted,
All right,
and we
cool.
have, and that's where we're at. So,
All right, cool. All right, very good. Well, let's do the music first because I got to have that. Okay, everybody, belated welcome from me this time to I.M.POSSIBLE. For those of you that don't know, my name is Michael Forrest, and the way we ordinarily get this thing going, I don't know if you recover this or not, but we ask everybody to stay clear of this top step here. This way, nobody blocks the display for anybody, and this way, we can, have room to do the whole hosting thing, right? Also, we ordinarily run these events muted, and given the size of the crowd, how's that been going? Furious, has been an issue at all? No?
I had just decided to mute because I felt like perhaps people were feeling pressured to talk without the
Oh yeah, we
participation
don't like
count.
that to happen. All right, cool. So what we're gonna do
Yeah.
is we'll go with the usual method thing. What we normally do is we mute everybody, and just because you're muted, don't feel like you can't express yourself. You're gonna notice in your menu wheel there is a microphone icon at the very top. And when that's clear, everyone can hear what's happening around you. And when it is red, like it is now, that means that you're all muted. And just because you're muted doesn't feel like you can't participate. You're gonna notice there's a pink cheek smiley face in your menu wheel there. And that gives you a wide variety of options with which to express yourself, right? So if, for example, somebody shares something really powerful and meaningful and it resonates with you and you want to show the love, you can do that. If somebody says something exciting, like maybe they're telling a story where they swung across some quicksand and something cool like that, you can throw up the applause like that, show how much you appreciate it, how exciting that is, right? You can say yes or no, or just smile if you feel like it, right? Like that. You can say no or frown. Maybe it's a sad story like that, and you've got the laughing if somebody's telling a funny story like that. And then there's this. This is how you let us know that there's a problem. So if we see one person doing this, well, we, generally we keep on going. But if we see five of you going like that at a time, we know there's a problem. Like maybe I'm moving my hands around up here and it looks like I'm talking, but you guys aren't hearing anything. That's a good time to do something like that. Or if one of our moderators decides, if they're not happy with the way the bit's going, they try to burn down the set, because that has happened occasionally by
It
burning
has.
down the display there. It does happen. But yeah, so that's a good time to do that. All right, there's also the X in the middle of that panel, which will close events like this open. Just give feedback what we're doing, and it also shows support to the people who are sharing their stories here today. All right, and that's generally what we do. We are going to be going over stories that where you yourself have overcome difficult odds, or maybe somebody has, or maybe it's a story you've read, and it doesn't even have to take place in the real world. It can be something that happened in VR. Like this world that you're standing in is a perfect example of this. This is the Ravenhall Forum, and this was built on an Apple iPad and an old laptop that couldn't run Unity for longer than 15 minutes without crashing, right? And but we kept at it. We used that word impossible an awful lot, which I don't like doing. I got a long history with this word. And let's see, we have the raise hand button on the lower right if you want to get on the list to tell a story. But until that list fills up, I'm going to get it started and tell you a little bit about how I have a history with this word and how I came to have this opinion. I recently read that impossible is just a word that we use for something we haven't done yet. And I think that's a good way to look at it, because when I was a kid, there was a group of bullies one summer, and every day they would chase me in this alleyway and they would beat me up, right? And when they did, I mean, this happened every day. And when they did this, in the beginning, I would fight back. I would try to run. And they would always tell me, don't try to run. It's impossible, right? You can't escape. It's impossible. And they kept using that word. And I thought I knew what it meant. I thought impossible meant you couldn't do something. And then one day, my dad, he owned this bar, right? And a man comes into the bar one night and he's got a shopping bag with him. And when he settles out his bill, he asks my dad, he goes, do you have any kids at home? And my dad says, yeah, I got two boys at home. And the man says, well, they're going to love this. And he picks up the shopping bag there and he puts it on the bar and he slides it across. And my dad, he looks at it thinking, it's going to be the biggest tip I ever got. It's going to be a bag of cash. But he looked inside, and instead of cash, it was a stack of Batman comics, which, probably was a disappointment for him, but good news for me. He brought them home and he, slid the first of many under my door, right? And when he did that, I found it and I read this thing, and I didn't read it like a kid typically reads, a comic book. I read this like it was an instruction manual, right? And, as I'm reading this and I'm getting all inspired by it, I took a backpack and I modified it. I made the side pouch, I filled it up with marbles, right? Put a drawstring on it. And the next day, I'm wearing this backpack as these kids chase me down the alleyway. And what I did was I reached back and I pulled on that drawstring really hard, right? And the marbles had clattered all over the concrete, right? And I kept on running. For the very first time I made it to the garages. And I kept on going. I scrambled up the concrete wall on top of the garage. And I looked back down that alleyway. You know what I saw? I saw all these kids falling on the ground, trying to pick themselves back up and falling again. And I started giggling. Oh man, I started laughing so hard. But then all of a sudden, I suddenly stopped, right? I just stopped laughing because it dawned on me. I had just done what they said could not be done. I had just done what they said was impossible. So clearly, this word didn't mean what I thought it meant, right? So what I did was I went to the library and listen, the statute of limitations is up on this now, so I can finally confess this, right? And then what I did was I found every dictionary in that library and I crossed out the word impossible because I felt people had to know that this wasn't what people thought it meant, right? And from that day on, every time I encountered the word impossible, I just don't agree with it. I think it's a limitation that we put on ourselves. And when we first started doing this event, it was supposed to be a one-time thing. And every time I do one of these, I learn a little bit more about our relationship to that word and what a limiting thing it can be. All right. So if you did something that you didn't think you could do, we want to hear about it. But fair warning, we are filming these events. This goes out on YouTube. If you share something and you think, oh man, I shouldn't have said that, don't worry about it. Just see me after and tell me to cut that part out. We have no problem doing that. Okay. All right. Let's see. We do have somebody on the list here. We have Jack. Jack, you're on the list, but there's no buttons here. Weird. Okay. Maybe you left a space. That's possible. Jack, if you're still here, just press that raise hand button again. And if anybody else wants to get on that list, share a story or something like that, just press that raise hand button and we'll get you on the list and you can do that. And since pauses are the natural anyway, here we go. Let's see, who do we have here? We've got Rusty03. Rusty, what's up? You're on the air. I get to feel like a radio host and talk like this. Where are you, Rusty?
There
you are. What's up?
Hi, well,
Take your time.
it's,
Okay.
yeah, it's, difficult, but it is funny. Hold on, I'm so sorry. Give me a minute. I'm so sorry. Can you continue
It's
to
okay.
somebody else? I'm sorry.
Don't be
Thank you.
sorry. It's totally fine. Listen, it's not easy talking in front of all these people. You think, oh, it's just a
Yeah.
room full of avatars, man, but it's not. These are people. Every single one of these people, with the exception of Ravenhall, that's our camera. And if you want to wave out to YouTube, you totally can, right? But everybody in here is a person, and that can be, a little bit, tough to speak in front of a group like that. See a hand going up there. Gino Martin is raising a hand and wave. Let's see if you're on the list here. Yeah, you are actually. Okay, so we're gonna be on the air there. Gino Martin, what's up? You're on the air. You should be on the air. There you go. What's up?
The host. Not much.
Do
Do you need me to talk?
If you'd like to, you have a story or something you want to share, or just, press that button.
Actually, I just pressed the button just to see. I'm
Okay.
still learning.
You can do that.
Thank you.
That's cool. Just trying it out. There's no problem. That gets you on our list. And again, you raise the hand button if you want to share a story that's either your own, someone maybe a story that you've read. All right. And since there's nobody else on the list, I'm going to keep on going if that's okay. Because like I said, I can't stand the pauses. Event hosts can't stand pauses. There we go. All right. In the early days of the U.S., there was a miner, and during the whole gold rush thing, right? And this miner was going about. Could you listen, Mario? Do me a favor. Just kind of stay off the stop step here. You're in trouble moving around here. All right, thanks. Appreciate it. And there was a miner, right? And came into possession of the whole thing, the gold mine, right? Which is kind of unusual for a miner, right? And he's digging in this gold mine every single day. And at the end of every day, he goes into the town and goes in the saloon, has a couple of drinks and unwinds, and that's his routine. And one day, this man comes up to him and says, "Listen, I'll take that mine off your hands." And the man says, "There's no way I'm ever going to sell this mine. There's gold in there. I can feel it in my bones," right? And every single day this man come up to him, and every single day the miner said no. And every single day he kept asking again and again and again until finally, the miner was starting to get tired because he wasn't finding any gold, right? And he's starting to get discouraged. And then one day he had one of these days, and I'm sure you've all had days like this where, all of his pickaxes were broken, all of his fuses were wet, and nothing was going right. And he shows up at the saloon, he's all beaten, he's all dejected. And the man comes up to him again, and before he can even ask, the miner says, "Fine, I'll sell you the mine." All right? And he does. He sells it to him for a good price. And then a few days later, the miner comes into that saloon and he sees that man he sold the mine to, and he's celebrating. He's buying everybody drinks. He looks like he's real happy. He's having a good time. And the miner comes up to him and says, what's the occasion? And he says, well, we hit gold in that mine you sold me. Right? And the miner's like, oh, wow. You got to tell me, how close was that? And the guy says, well, he only dug about 3 feet. And for the rest of that miner's life, every single time he felt discouraged, every single time he thought, that something was impossible, every single time he was about to give up, he would always tell himself, I'm 3 feet from goal. And he actually went on to be very successful in his life because of this, right? And a lot of times it's like that. You just kind of, right at that moment when you're about to give up, right when you're about to just throw it all in, right when you think, oh, I can't do this, that's about the time when you're about to start, pulling it off, right? And it's I think a good thing to keep in mind. It's one of my favorite stories, actually. Now, if anybody would like to share a story that's their own, or a story that they read, or a story, again, it doesn't have to be in the real world. It could be in VR. Like maybe you didn't think you could build a world and you did. Maybe it came out much nicer than you thought you could do. Anything like that will get you on the list there. Let's see, somebody press that button. We've got Rusty 03 again. Take it another try. Everybody throw up some emojis for Rusty for even trying it. Throw up some applause. This one's for you, Rusty. There you go. All right, cool. There you go. So what's up, Rusty? You muted yourself again. Oh no. All the applause threw him off. Oh no. All right. Let's see. Press that raise hand button again, Rusty. Everybody in here wants to hear it. Press that raise hand button. Did you do it? All right, cool. Let's see. Let's get you back on there because you pressed mute again. All right. Now you're back on. There you go. Cool. Floor is yours, man. There you go.
My life has been filled with a lot of pain, a lot of tragedy, and a lot of heartache. And there was a point in my time where I was suffering through depression, and I was going through suicide, and I walked up and I was about to end it all one day, and I was just like thinking to myself, why do I have to do this? Why am I doing this? But there's always a thing that always keeps on telling you to keep on doing it and never to stop. And it always got to me. It made me cry at night. It made me really, really closed off to a lot of people. And and I thought to myself one day, and I sat down in a room and I decided to, just keep it by myself and let nobody figure out what happened. And I would always think that until one day I just broke down and I thought, this is possible to beat this, to beat my depression and beat it. And I didn't need help. It was hard not to get help, but I did the impossible and figured out a way to be who I am and be a better self, be a better self than I am today.
Wow.
I was pretty beaten up a long time ago, but I'm so glad I
Rusty?
did
I bet you every single person in this space has felt like that at one time or another. Right.
Mm-hmm.
And for me, myself, when I go through stuff like that, I keep telling myself, I got to see how it ends. Just got to see how it ends up. Because you never know, like right when you're about to give up, that's usually when things are about to turn around. It's, that can happen quite a bit. But I'm glad you hung in there, and I'm glad you made it here to share it with us today. I think that's pretty amazing that you stuck around. That takes a lot of courage. And I'm glad you're still here with us. That's wow. Okay, that's power. All right, that's kind of a tough one to follow. Let's see, we actually have somebody else here on the list. We got Hummingbird. Hummingbird, what's up? Should be on the air, Hummingbird. Oh, you got just deleted you off the list there.
Oh, no.
Are you still there? Okay, good.
I just want to give Rusty a hug.
Well, then you absolutely can if it's okay with Rusty.
Okay, Rusty.
So that's okay. There you go.
I don't know where he went, but
He's on your right, I believe, in the red shirt, right next to you. There you go. There we are.
I'm
All
glad
right.
you're okay,
That's nice.
Rusty.
That's cool to see. We also have the Roos. I don't know if I'm saying that right because sometimes they cut off the word, the name there. The Roos, where are you?
Right here.
Yeah, right there. Hey, what's going on?
What's going on, man?
What's going on with you?
The story is kind of like invalid at this point, but it's
Okay.
still a story where like I did something I never thought I would be able to do.
All right. Well, I don't know if it's
So-
invalid because you know what? You never know what's going to inspire people.
I
You know,
mean,
and that was my hope when we
yeah.
made this event. You know, people, maybe somebody comes here and they're in like a difficult relationship or they're facing a difficult assignment at work or at school. And maybe your story is the thing that gets them through it. Maybe your story is the one that gets them to push on a little bit further. So what do you got?
Very true. All right. So as of right now, I'm 22. When I was in 7th grade, I started smoking cigarettes. And all the way up until then, all the way up until like 21, I was still smoking cigarettes and was heavily addicted. Lungs destroyed, cardio
Wow.
zero. And came across this guy named David Goggins. David Goggins, he came, like, I listened to his audiobook when I was working, and he came from the absolute dirt and just managed to succeed in life and beat everyone. And he was a Navy SEAL for 20 years and ran a bunch of ultra marathons, and he got me into running. So May of 2019, I quit nicotine and I got into running because of that dude, David Goggins. And
Wow.
running 3 miles was like zombie mode for me. It was the most difficult thing on earth. And July 4th, 2019, I ran a 10K, which is 6 miles.
Wow.
Got that done in like maybe 50 minutes around there. That was an accomplishment for me. I was like, wow, I never thought I'd be able to do that. You asked me July 4th of 2018, hey, Jay, run 6 miles. I would have been like, get out of my face. How about that? Let me go smoke a cigarette.
There you go.
But so after that, it was 10 miles. That was the first race I ran. And then just a few months later, I ended up running an ultra marathon, 30 miles.
Wow.
And I don't know. What I meant by like the stories and vows, that was in November of last year. I started smoking again ever since. I'm still trying to quit again. But
Okay,
that's what I
so it's
meant
a
by the
temporary
stories and vows.
setback, but at the same time, look at all you were able to accomplish and look at how much you were able to get your body to heal. I mean, that in itself is inspiring. Even if you had a relapse, you already know that you could do it. The first time you didn't know that you could do it.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, keep that in mind when you try again. All right, let's see. What else do we have here on the list? All right, we don't have anybody on the list right now, so I'm going to share one real quick. Well, this one goes back when I was in my teens, actually. I was, I was starting to get into like hiking and camping and things like that, and there's a place my friend and I would go camping at. It was a place called Lake George in upstate New York. And we hadn't been there in a while. And in a couple of months had gone by, there was a huge rainy season. And so there were all these waterfalls coming up, like right into the lake there. And, we wanted to go explore them. So, we went in and we checked them out and, we're on top of one of them. And all of a sudden, Chris slips and he starts going down the water and he kind of barrels into my legs and knocks me over. And I fall right in behind him and we kind of just shoot out right over the falls and into the lake, right? It was only about a 12-foot drop. It wasn't that big of a deal. We came up out of the water and we were laughing. And then we stopped laughing when we tried to get on the shore because, huge clumps of mud were coming down and we weren't able to get like a foothold into anything. It was just like, just huge. I mean, just mountains of dirt was coming down on us. And, and the water was fairly deep there. So we decided, we looked across the lake, we saw this big boulder where our campsite was. We could even see the tents. We figured that's not that far. We're both good swimmers, so we're going to swim for it. So we started swimming, and we get about, halfway through, across the lake there. And all of a sudden, Chris calls over me, he goes, Mike, and I start treading water. And I'm like, what's up? And by the way, we were fully dressed in boots, and we didn't have proper hiking boots. We had like the steel toe construction boots. I mean, we looked like proper hikers, but we weren't, and they were weighing us down, we kind of like dragging across. So it was a lot harder than we thought it was going to be. And, he just tells me, he goes, Mike, I don't think I'm going to make it. Right. And I looked back to where we came from and I realized it was the same distance either way. And once we got back, there's no guarantee we'd be able to get back up on the ground because we couldn't do it the first time. And there'd be no supplies, there'd be no help, So I figured the best chance we had was to keep on going. And I tried to explain this to him, in as few words as I could. And I got him to keep on going. And, we're digging into it. And then I started to think, I don't think I'm going to make it. And, and I told him so. And at that point, his adrenaline had kicked in, and he started to sound like, I don't know if you guys have ever seen like a Rocky movie, but he sounded like the coach in a Rocky movie. He's like, dig in, man. We got this. You got to make it. You got to keep going. I think he might have called me a bum once or twice if you're familiar with the movies. But yeah, it was pretty inspiring. We kept on going. And when we finally got to that boulder at the other side, and we pulled ourselves out and we just collapsed on that rock for about a good hour before we said anything. And then all of a sudden, Chris goes, we made it. Right. And we did. And we had to end up staying an extra day, just to recover from it, and it was, it was pretty scary in the moment. You think, well, why didn't you just take your boots off? And I'm like, all right, well, anyone who's saying that, I wish you were there at the time because it was probably a good idea, but it didn't occur to us in the moment because we were both, I think we were just, we were scared. We're scared kids, but, a lot of times when you get through something like that, even though it's really hard and really tough, and you do something you didn't think you could do, it makes you stronger. All right. All right. Now, what we're going to be doing now is we're going to be, let's see here. Usually at the end of our events, we take everybody flying, right? And let's see, the slides kind of got a little screwed up today because of my late arrival. So let's just cycle through these for a minute and get on here. All right, there we go. But yeah, there's, usually at the end of our events, we take everybody flying. So if, you haven't learned how to fly in all space yet, feel free to join us. And the way we do this is we're going to do this by doing, actually, I just got a text from Fury. One more, she's saying, let's see. Actually, we do have somebody on the list. Let's see, it's downloaded, I think. It's cutting off the name, so I'm not seeing the whole name there. Download it. You out there? There you go. Download it YT. What's going on? You got one for us?
Hi.
Hey, what's up?
Yeah, I got a good story.
Cool.
So, this actually happened yesterday. I had a lot of
Wait.
homework.
You did the impossible as recently as yesterday, and you're like, saw this event, and you're like, well, this is well timed, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, what happened yesterday?
Okay, so I was yesterday. I was getting up for school because I have school from home. We have to go on our online classes on Zoom. So I was really tired after doing pretty much all of my classes. So I went in between one of my classes. I went and took a nap because I had like 3 hours. So I went down on my couch, and about 15 minutes before my next class started, my mom, she went and woke me up. And then she went and told me, Colin, you've got class in 15 minutes. I'm like, no, Mom, I don't. And remember, all this is just her telling me this. I don't remember any of this. So she kept arguing with me for the next 15 minutes that I had class. So 2 o'clock comes around and she yells, Colin, you've got class. So then I went, hold on, sorry.
No worries.
Never mind. So I went up and I went upstairs. And I went to go get I wanted to go get a muffin for some reason, like a giant muffin out of our kitchen because we have a ton of them. So I go there and I grab one, and then I fall asleep with it in my bed. And none of this I at all remember at all.
Okay.
So yeah, then I wake up about 10 minutes later, and I yell, Mom, what time is it? And then she went and told me, oh, it's 2:15. Why? And I'm like, I'm late for class. After I was, for some reason, like, I don't know what it is. When people get drunk, they don't remember what happened. For me, it's when I take a nap. I don't remember anything that happens in between naps.
Okay. Wow. All right. Well, did you make it?
Yeah, I think I made it.
All right, cool. All right,
I don't think I'm dead yet.
No, I mean, did you make it to class? You're 15 minutes late, right?
Yeah, I made up the class for it.
All right, cool. Good to hear that. Apparently someone in the background's glad too.
Yeah, that's my brother. Cool. He's like 12 years old. I'm sorry about that.
Hey, download it, YT's brother. How's it going from the VR? All right. Now listen, if you guys have enjoyed yourself today, all right, one of the things we do at the end of our events is we take everybody flying, right? And to do it, we have the special effect here with this button that we press, right? And one of this Ravenhall Talon hovercrafts are going to fly in and take us there. It's going to come up over that wall. It's going to fly over the forum and touch down on that landing pad right there. And you know what? When we first started working on that, we thought it was impossible because we started working with just a tablet, and we'd spend like 6 hours looking for like a misplaced semicolon. It was, it was rough. Eventually, we did get a computer where we pulled it off. But if you enjoyed our content today, please go to altvr.com and go up to where it says channels. And up there, you're going to see a list of all the Altspace event channels. And among them, toward the bottom, you'll see Ravenhall events. It says on that back wall, right? You'll be taken to our event page. And there, if you press the subscribe button, it lets Altspace know that you enjoy our content. We don't get paid to do this. So every time we see that number go up, we feel good. It's a great way to say thank you if you enjoyed yourselves today. All right. So that said, we're going to go ahead and make sure everybody's unmuted because I like hearing all the, all the oohs and the ahs when people see this thing. I'm going to press this button here.
Ravenhall Talon aircraft en route to your position. Please stay clear of the landing pad.
Now,
Thank
if you direct
you.
your attention to this wall, you're going to see the Ravenhall Town hovercraft come up, and you can actually fly these things. You can have a chance to fly these if you're interested in giving it a shot. You can fly them at the Ravenhall Flight Academy, where we're headed right now. So if you join me over by the landing pad, we can go take it out. And listen, remember, everybody, while I don't believe in the word impossible, I do believe
Talon
in all of you.
aircraft is now boarding for transport to the Ravenhall Flight Academy. Please
Thanks for
step
coming.
into
I'll
the
see you
blue
next time.
light. Thank you.